Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. Today I want to continue our conversation on practicing our basics. Last week I shared with you my first of a two-part series on the importance of practicing our basics in our lives so that we can reach the highest levels that we can and be the happiest that we can be. You know, and in martial arts, this is something that we talk to our students about all the time. You know, practicing our basics. In fact, it's often said in the martial arts that a black belt is nothing more than the master of the basics. A black belt is nothing more than the master of the basics. And I challenge you, when you are having the best times in your lives and you feel that you're on the top of your game, or you've seen other people that seem to be on the top of their game, I can almost guarantee you those are times or those are people that are constantly practicing basic positive practices in their lives. So last week what I did is I shared with you my first 3 of 6 daily basic practices that I think are super important. Today I want to share the next 3. So last week what we talked about is this idea. Number 1 is the importance of adequate rest. An interesting one to start with, right? But so many of us are sleep deprived because we think that getting 3-4 hours of sleep a night is something good, but we're not getting adequate rest each night, and or we're not allowing ourselves to rest during the course of the day. And quite honestly, when we are on the top of our game, if you take a look at top level athletes, they know the importance of adequate rest before they move on and move at their highest level. So number 1 was rest. Number 2 was the idea of proper nutrition. Ooh, that's a sensitive topic, isn't it? But there's so many opportunities in our lives to actually unconsciously eat and put bad things into our bodies. But when we're on the top of our game, we're eating well. We're conscious about that. And then number 3 is movement. Number 3 was movement. And so that's the idea that it may not even be exercise, but it's just adequate movement each and every day because our bodies are designed to move. Interestingly enough, over the last 2 weekends or 3 weekends, I was with my 2 martial arts instructors, Grandmaster J.K. Lee in Milwaukee and Bill Superfoot Wallace, and who's a former world kickboxing champion. And both of them said to me in conversation the exact same thing. When you stop moving, you die. Right? Meaning that when we stop moving our bodies, those aspects that we enjoy, they begin to atrophy. And they're 80 and 75 respectively. And I want to be just like them when they grow up because they're still around, keep moving and kicking. So those were the first 3. Today what I want to talk about is the next 3, 4, 5, and 6. And those are mental growth and expansion, gratitude, and spiritual connection. So let's talk about this idea of mental growth and expansion. I personally believe that we are the happiest as human beings when we are learning, growing, and actually even coming up against challenges. In fact, I challenge you to think about some of the happiest times in your life and the times when you felt the best, and it was probably when you were working towards something and you were growing and expanding. And so, for those of us that think that we got done with our education as soon as we were done with school, there's a whole other realm out there that's available to us. So this might come in books that we read. It might come in podcasts we listen to, videos we watch, personal or professional growth programs that we're part of, one-on-one coaching that we're doing. All these opportunities for us to grow and expand, because when we continue to sharpen our saw in that manner, what happens is things begin to open up for us and our perceptions begin to change, and we can even see the normal and the mundane in a very different way because the situation didn't change, we changed. Our perspective changed. So my challenge for you is, where do you have an opportunity to continue to grow and expand mentally and keep your brain, keep your mind sharp so that you're able to be at the top of your game? Number 5 is gratitude. Gratitude. This whole idea of always wanting to go get something else, that's something that particularly in Western society is very prevalent. But what I've come to realize is I'm not going to be able to get what I want until I'm grateful for what I have. I'm not going to be able to get what I want until I'm grateful for what I have. And on this blog, you've often heard me talk about the brain's reticular activating system. It's that part of our brain that filters things out and helps us focus on what we want. Case in point, if we want a new automobile, new car, and we make that decision, pretty soon we start seeing it on the road all the time, right? It's because our brain filters that out. Well, the same thing happens when we live in a life of gratitude. The things that we're grateful for and the things that we want, we start seeing more of those in our lives. And there's a great book called Thanks by author Robert Emmons. And he talks about the power of people who log 5 items that they're grateful for every night in a gratitude journal. Just 5. And people have better health. They get better sleep. Their relationships improved. They even rate themselves 25% happier than the people that don't log things in a gratitude journal. Anyone up for 25% more happiness? So what practice do you have of gratitude? And do you do it on a daily basis? And are you specific about it? You know, I hear all the time, oh, I'm grateful for my life, I'm grateful for my family, but what are the specific things you're grateful for? Because when you go through that exercise on a daily basis, you start seeing more and more to be grateful for and expand in your life. And then finally, number 6, spiritual connection. I happen to believe that the prior 5, they don't really have the sustenance and the power that they could have unless we are connected to ourselves and to something higher than ourselves on a spiritual level. Call it God, call it nature, call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. When we have a connection to ourselves and we have a connection with something larger than ourselves, that's where things begin to open up. Our minds open up, our hearts open up, and that's when we're a fully functioning human being. Now that might come in very different ways for every one of you. You know, for me, I love doing a daily meditation and prayer practice. It helps anchor me. Spending time in nature, going to church, reading spiritual texts, whatever that is for you. Where are you able to anchor and get in touch with something bigger than yourself and getting in touch with what's going on inside of you? Hence that spiritual connection. So there are the 6 aspects of our basics that we can have on a daily basis so that we're living the fullest life that we can. Just let me repeat them again. It's adequate rest, nutrition, movement, mental growth and expansion, gratitude, and finally spiritual connection. So what's the one practice that you're willing to grow and expand in? You know, you don't have to start all 6 of these at one time, but what's maybe 1 or 2 that you can begin practicing today so that your life is as rich and impactful as it can be? Well, thanks so much for listening again, my friends. I so appreciate you. Once again, please like, comment, share as you see these videos. And please, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if there's a way in your life that you're going to take these principles and help them expand so you can be the very best you can be. So this has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.